All right, I'm recording.
All right, folks. It looks like we have landed, and today we got an awesome friend and a guy that everybody gets to know as Big Red. The guy owns Red BBQ and Pizzeria, and we get the absolute pleasure to get to talk to him. He's the champion of the community. As you see him, he's already waving and fired up about coming to talk to us. We got our friends Drew, Tyler, and David Donaldson joining us because he's his bodyguard. And everything that they do is to change communities one chunk of meat at a time. So, Red, we want to welcome you to the lab today. And as we get started, we just want to give you a chance to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what makes you be the man that you are. The man that you are. So, welcome to the lab.
What's up,
Red? Thank you, gentlemen. I truly appreciate it. You guys are absolutely amazing. And what you guys have done through this lab, I think is phenomenal. So I want to say thank you for having me on. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to serve the community. And I hope everybody enjoys this as much as I think I'm going to. So a little bit about me. As Eric mentioned earlier, I'm a former Marine. I was a Marine for 10 years. And then I just, And then I joined the Foreign Service as a federal agent with the Department of State. I've been with them for 16 years. And recently, I've opened up Red's BBQ and Pizzeria. So that is my claim to fame, and it's my little baby. It's my proof of concept for a future business that I hope to open up as a brick and mortar. And we are now doing a lot of barbecue events, and I've now dubbed it Red's Barbecue Relief, and we've just been officially sanctioned as a 501c3. And so now we're going to be able to do this more often and do it for many different other reasons.
That's good. Awesome. And I think the first question that we would all like to know is, how did you come up with the name Reds?
I'm still trying to figure that out, man. I tell you what, I look in the mirror every day. I don't get it. Maybe it's because when I took the ASVAB test to become a service member, whenever I took my test, it's funny because then all the recruiters started laughing, and then the Marine recruiter handed me crayons, and I started eating them. And they're like, perfect, come here, I have something for you. And from there, it was just like 10 years later. I don't understand.
Hey, see, now you can't crack the crayons joke, Tyler. I know you were waiting for that. We're prepared for this.
Hey, every Marine I've ever known has been prepared. So,
hey, so Red, listen. I know on the most serious note, I know that you already know we basically had an asteroid hit our society right now. It's not just here, but it's all around the world. And one of the things that we notice about you and your business, what you've done, is you've completely done a pivot on how you were running your business. So what we want to hear from you is, what caused you to do that? Because you immediately shifted and you did some incredible things. And we see it in social media. We see you pressing in the community. So tell us a little bit about that. How do you make that decision?
Right. And that's a great pivotal question to even start from. But it all started with my children. My middle son, Lucas, he goes to Discovery Elementary, and he mentioned to me just offhand, hey, Dad, I don't think one of my buddies is going to be able to get the food that he gets every day because he normally gets it for free. And that just prompted me you know what, I'm going to call the school. Maybe there's something that I can do as Reds to help out people like him. And I didn't want to single him out and be like, hey, because maybe the family would be a little bit embarrassed. And so I went to the school directly, and I told them, hey, I would love to set up Red Force One, which is the name of the trailer. And
that's an awesome name, by the way.
Thanks, man. And my smokers' names are Bonnie and Clyde too. So it's just,
That's awesome.
So I was like, you know what, I want to be able to give back to this community. And it started off with Discovery Elementary here in Ashburn. What I did was I planned for about 100 people. I had no idea what to expect. I've never done this before. I'm not a food industry guy. I just kind of do this out of passion, out of love, and it's just grown into this craziness that it's been, and I've learned a lot. But during that 3-hour time frame, what I noticed was, one, there's a lot more people in need than what I originally thought, because we served over 300 meals in 3 hours that very first day. And it just blew my mind. And then during that same time, about half of the people gave us money as donations to continue doing what we do as a pay it forward method. So I immediately thought this would be a great opportunity to do that, because I took all of the profits I'd made over the last year and put them towards that very first day. So for me, it wasn't a question of, me making money off the Reds, because I've got a great job. I can provide for my family. And this is just, for when I want to do it. And so it wasn't anything that truly hurt me, but at the same time, it was a decision point that had to be made, because for me, any kid that goes hungry or any family that needs food and they're not getting food, that really bothers me. And if there's anything that I can do about that, I will. And so we did. And from that point on, I feel as though it's lightning in a bottle, because I think that if you give people the opportunity to donate, that's going towards a good cause and everything else, they're going to latch onto that, because right now so many people want to do something for their neighbor or their community, but they're also afraid to leave the house. And so this team of volunteers that I have, I call them the Elite 10, because they're out there every single week, like Dave Donaldson and Dale Jr. and Betsy and everybody else, and Aku. Half of the people I never even met before this started. It was like this mosaic of eclectic people coming together over the same desire to feed the children and feed families in need. And since then, it's grown into, what we did last week, which was over 600 people in a 3-hour time frame.
That's amazing.
You know what's been amazing to me, the evolution of this whole thing, right, Red, is that this came from an unbelievable place. We heard about Loudoun County and the buses running, delivered lunches, and Lucas bringing it to you and jumping on. But for a lot of people, I had this conversation with people like, well, you're feeding first responders and those in need, so I'm not going to go. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. You do need to go, right? Because it is first responders, it is those in need. But remember, those at home are also in need. Like there's such a whole other dynamic to what we're doing and getting people engaged in, because there's a detriment to being in your house all the time, right? And so I don't think people look at this as I'm okay, so I don't need to go. But there's something cultural about being there and being in line and engaging, staying in your cars, right? Physically distant. But Rhett, I don't know if you've seen that, right? That it's not, there's amazing smiles, there's amazing things happening, right?
Yeah. It's that atmosphere that it's hard to describe when people haven't been there yet, but as people are coming through and they smell the smoke coming Red Force One, and they hear the music, and then they hear the kids singing or the parents yelling out of the car, "Thank you so much for what you do." Those sorts of things gives you goosebumps, and it puts your heart in the right perspective to say what we're doing is what we're supposed to be doing, and it's the right thing. And even though a lot of us, are getting, no sleep for over 24 hours to get this done during that small little 3-hour window, 100% everybody would say it's worth it at the end of the day, because people are going home full in their bellies, but also their cups of joy are overflowed.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. I love that mentality of running to the sound of the guns. You see a need, and basically you just picked up your what you could, and you just ran to the sound of the need. Right? People are in need out there, and you're giving the best of yourself to get back to the community. And the coolest thing about it is you're surrounded by people that are expecting nothing in return. Right? They teamed up with you, like David and the rest of your crew. And they're just stepping up and making a difference in our community. So here at the lab, we appreciate people like that. That's what we wanted you to come on today and share your story. Now we're curious here, like, so this 10 people, like that you call it the 10 elite. You call, what's the name again?
Yeah, the Elite 10.
The Elite 10. All right. So tell us a little bit about them. What are their backgrounds? Because I know for a fact that they all have careers and they have families and lives. So tell us a little bit about them.
So it's exciting because half of the people work with me currently at the Department of State. We've got Eugene, I have Aku, I've got a couple other people, and then people like Dale, people like Betty, people like who else do we have that came out? Juju and some other people. They're people who I know kind of throughout the community, but Betty is retired. She doesn't do anything except for being retired. And then
another
she's
Marine
over here right now downstairs peeling, potatoes, and we're getting ready for the next event. And so David, who I knew through our sons play soccer together. So half of the crew, we never even imagined would meet up through this crisis. But I think crises bring people together, and like a phoenix out of a fire, to use that cliche,
Yeah, I like that
term, a new form of business has evolved. And I believe if you're a business owner, especially a small business owner, you've got to be shifty and be able to go left and right, as well as the long distance, because right now is the left and right kind of a moment. You need to be able to adjust fire appropriately so that you can meet the current demands, and then go forward with your original business plan, modified as it may be.
You're absolutely right. I mean, we've heard from some of the smartest business people in the world, really, that everything's changed, right? So actually, this morning I was listening to a gentleman by the name of Keith Cunningham. He writes a lot of books about businesses, and he was saying how businesses were basically formed physically and virtually enhanced, and now because of everything that's happened, he called it an asteroid, hit us all. We're gonna have to get so good about being virtually built and then ultimately enhanced by a physical ability. So I'd say, you're doing exactly that. I mean, you going on social media, you're sharing your story, you're letting people know what you're doing, and you're sharing your story virtually and doing whatever you can physically, right? So, great, good on you, man. Awesome stuff. Hey, Drew and Ty, I know you guys got a question to shoot down range.
Go ahead, Ty.
Oh, I was just going to say, I like the adjust fire. That was a great, and since we're doing barbecue. However, one of the things that, I just love about the cuisine, right, of barbecue is how it brings people together.
Yeah.
It's a slow, steady process to really bring whole communities together. That's historically what it's been. And I think it's amazing how you guys particularly are doing this cuisine and have shifted that into feeding a mass amount of people. So I am curious though, where, getting started into that cuisine, how did that come about? How did that become a passion for you?
Wow. Great question, Tyler, man. It all started, I think, with my mom, and, God rest her soul. I think she punished me a lot when I was young by having me cutting the onions, whenever we were in the kitchen all the time. And so I think it was one of those things where that kind of prepared you. I would always love being in the kitchen. So when I was a kid growing up, I would always watch, I don't know if you're familiar with the shows, Yan Can Cook, Justin Wilson, and who's that one woman who was a CIA operative, who's a famous culinary genius, and oh man, I forget her name. But anyways, those are the people I watched growing up. I never watched cartoons. And then kind of fast forward to when I was just recently assigned to the U.S. Embassy in Brazil. I took some pit master classes in Brazil. And so I became a pit master in Brazil. Coming back to the U.S., I started doing some things with smoking, and then I got picked up by some of the Redskins who wanted some barbecue, and I've been doing some of their private events, and it just kind of spun out of control where I would do a barbecue menu and I call it a Red Speakeasy barbecue menu because I would silently put it out there on a Monday. By Tuesday morning, I'd be sold out for a Saturday pickup. And the reason why I started all of that was when I was doing my research, people would ask me, like, what's my favorite food? And I'm like, I can't choose between pizza and barbecue. Like, it's just the new two natural things that fat people love to eat. Like, it just makes me happy. It puts me in my comfort zone, right? So then I got to do some research, and I realized that, like, in the U.S., because I want to become a student of the game, because I was never in the industry, food industry. So the U.S. created this barbecue system, which is not anything new, but it started with the slaves, right? And so in the plantations and everything, these slaves would have these barbecues, and they would spell it a little bit differently, as bar, B-E, and then Q-U-E's. And then it would be for their families, and be for them to get together on the weekends and do their thing as far as create that little sense of community, that little microcosm that made them happy in a very horrible time. And then the plantation owners would see, hey, these people are cooking some amazing meals over an open fire, and I want some of that. And then they would kind of come together after that, and then they would have them, cook the barbecue, and then it grew to a political platform, and then it grew to festivals, and it just kept growing and growing. But the whole nucleus of it all was community. It's family. And to me, that's what, coming back from Brazil to the US, my very first meal experience was at Outback. And no offense to Outback, but you know, it was weird because we went there, and within the moment we got our main course meal, the server, God bless her, she immediately put the check on the table and said, "Hey, I'm in no hurry. This is for your convenience. When you're ready, you can pay your bill." And I was just blown away. You know, I was like, wow, you know, we just got our meal. And in Brazil, you would go out for like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
Whether that's a South American thing, whether that's a European thing, eating is a thing. It's a destination. It's something you do extracurricular with your time, to spend time with family, to spend time with friends. Because in Brazil, like, you go out with your family and friends and you'd be talking for like 2 or 3 hours. And you're like, good God, what did you guys talk about for so long? And you would never remember because you talked about everything. You know, that process of building memories, I feel as though is lost in the US. So what I want to do is create Reds to be the premier destination style restaurant that is synonymous with relationship building, is synonymous with creating memories. And you're going there with no expectations to leave, because what I'm going to be able to provide is the background for memories to be made. And the food is going to be the background music. It's going to be phenomenal, but you're never going to talk about the food, because what's being more important is the relationships that you're forging with your friends and your families, and more importantly, me.
Man, that's a great story. You're making me think of my times in Colombia. Man, I remember sitting down with my family next to the pool, and the meat just kept on coming. And we're talking the whole time, but like, you know, grandma's bringing more food, and then your mom is bringing more food, and you're eating the whole time. You, like, by the time you're done, you can barely walk, but you know you ate a whole lot of good steak.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really what it's all about. It's spending a good time.
They got to
That's
get some
awesome.
of that picanha, Red. I'm telling you right now. Fogo de who? I'm telling you.
That's awesome. Drew,
Well, I have a question. First off, I'm the one monitoring the live, and Betty says that there is so much more to her than potato peeler. She just wants you to know that.
Ask Betty if she's
Dale-
going to want to raise
Oh,
next.
Betty.
Dale is just, he gave us his whole entire bio in one swoop. And
Ask Dale if he knows how to cut onions.
Julia Childs is the woman that you were trying to think of.
Yes.
Let me just run that recap for you. My thing is this, Red. I think that I'm a barbecue guy, and I hate to say this. I watched a lot of the shows, like the Pit Masters and things like that. The equipment that these guys use is one of the most important tools that they have. When did you decide to go big and get Red Force One?
I decided to go big after the multitude of private events that I was doing. It was starting to get out of control, because I stopped doing the private menus because the weekends were full of the private events, which a lot of the clients that I was working with, they don't want to be out there in public. So I just never really talked about it. But every single weekend I would be out at these people's houses, and we would have the most amazing barbecue experience. And it was funny because as I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I need to be mobile. I need to create something. And so I called East Texas Smoker Company up, and another company called Yoder Smokers, and kind of told them my vision, my dream. And I knew I needed to go big because of what I wanted to do was a proof of concept. You almost have to invest. You're an all-in situation. I watch Shark Tank all the time, and they always ask those small business owners, "Are you all in?" You know. And by me remortgaging my house mortgage in order to pay for Red Force One, that shows everybody I'm all in. I believe in my concept. I believe in what I'm doing. I think I'm going to make a difference. And I think that Red Force One is going to be the center of attention, because once people see it, they're just in awe of the back-to-back satellite TVs, the surround sound Sirius XM music, the LED lights, the wraps, the rims, the Mara Forni pizza oven. You know, the Mara Forni family, who is in Beltsville, Maryland, their oven that they provided me with, there's only 3 in the US right now, and they go on their electric vehicles. Wow. So I've been out to their company multiple times to do their private events, and they never ask for a pizza. They always want the barbecue because, you know, it's one of those things where the barbecue off of what I call now Bonnie and Clyde, which Bonnie is the huge 250-gallon smoker. It has axes on it for the handles. So to me, that's my tribute to first responders. And every inch of my trailer, the open concept destination kitchen, what it is, it has a meaning, has a reason behind it. So when I take people on a tour of it, they're just floored. One, how clean it is. Two, the usefulness of it all. But three, the functionality.
I've been to quite a few barbecues, and I've seen some setups before. I'd never seen anything like when I saw yours, man. It's amazing. It's huge and it is clean. And I just want to give you a shout out, man. The food was amazing. Eric and I got just a small, sample of what you guys do. And then, by the way, Dale says that he is also a part-time slow onion cutter.
Hey, I got to share with you, so Red and I go back a while, and I like to surround myself with amazing people. And there was a house down the street from me where I live, and I said, you know what? I'm looking, I'm selfishly thinking, like, who could I get that's got kids? He's got a son my oldest age, and he's got a son my youngest age, right? I'm like, Red, we got to get you in this house. And he goes, well, is there room for my trailer? And I'm thinking, I don't know, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, it's got 3-car garage. We can probably store anything in this thing. I said, what are we talking about here? I said, send me a picture. So he sends me a picture of Red Force One, and I'm like, how big is this thing? He's like, yeah, it's like 18 by 13. I'm like, I'm good, but I don't know. I mean, bribery goes a long way with some people in the community, but I don't even think I can sell this thing. I saw the photos, I was blown away.
That is awesome. It's awesome. Hey, Brad, listen, so we have business owners. I mean, the whole goal of the lab is to bring business owners that share their ideas and thoughts with us. And, we all know that there's a lot of things that are changing right now. And you are like an exemplary person that is, you just say, you know what? I'm not going to allow this to defeat me. I'm going to move forward and make a difference. What is some, some advice that you can give to all the small business owners that are out there that are right now having doubts about what they're doing? Like, what would you give to them for them to carry on?
I would say my advice to those people who have that passion of business and everything else, you need to think about the short term right now. Short term would be, the 1 to 2 months range, and say, hey, I need to redefine my business plan, because right now the focus behind everything that's going on right now is the family. So if there's any way you can incorporate what you do as it relates to a family, as it relates to your neighbor, as it relates to your community, it would be beneficial to that person's business to promote it that way. And then, as we kind of come out of this together, everybody will then grow together. And that was been my approach is, I can do things for free now, one, because everybody has taken the time to donate and pay it forward, but I'm not concerned with making money right now. I'm concerned with the family, that kid, that child, my neighbor, those people who go unspoken, the first responders, the frontline workers, the doctors, the nurses, the technicians, that's all I care about. I get messages daily because people are so nice. They're like, hey, we want to pay it forward to you. Can you do us this, and here's whatever amount of money? I'm like, no, I can't, because one, I've got a day job. Two, I've got to stay focused on these Saturday events because they're so stressful and they're so long. I wish I could do more, but I think we need to, what this one thing this virus has taught everybody is we need to strip the fat. We need to get rid of all the excess that we have in the house, whether it's personal belongings, whether it's business belongings, what doesn't fit anymore. You need to be super lean when you come into a business. That to me means longevity, because if you don't owe anybody anything, I don't owe anybody $1 for what I own in Reds. I 100% own it. The Red Force One is mine. I pay for it, and therefore I can do what I want. And I think that says a lot about someone's business. Not everybody can do that because everybody's got different expenses and different overheads and everything else. I get it. But if you can, I think that to me means that I could probably run a good marathon versus really worry about the sprint.
That kind of falls in line with a lot. I mean, you're talking about a bunch of business owners for a company that has been 100%, debt-free since its incarnation. So that kind of falls right in line with a lot of things that we talk to and preach to in our businesses every single day.
No, you're absolutely right, man. That is awesome. So listen, I had to ask you because I'm curious. You missed the core?
I don't miss cleaning the heads. I miss the camaraderie.
Yeah,
I miss the esprit de corps and the Semper Fi. I miss the Semper Fi, the
Good
always
guy.
faithful. That I miss. I don't miss the silly little games.
Oh yeah, I agree with you 100%. But listen, we're now going to shift a little bit. We got some questions rapid fire for you. We call it rapid fire session, and it's going to be questions just about anything, and you're just going to go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, man, we're just gonna go, man. We do it everyone when we bring in just to see how human you really are. So you ready?
Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm ready, man. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
Drew, shoot.
All right. So this is the part in the show where you hear that rapid fire comes in, right? So, ready. Favorite quarantine meal?
Pizza.
One snack that you can eat every day, all day.
A donut.
Oh boy, I'm hungry now. Last show you binge watched?
Tiger King.
Favorite movie?
Tombstone.
Oh, I love that one.
I'm your Huckleberry. Last book you read?
It was a book on leadership by Abraham Lincoln.
What's the sport you missed the most during the quarantine?
Soccer.
Yeah, I if I played a sport, I don't because I'm fat. It would be watching soccer. I truly believe that. Growing up in Texas, I played U.S. football, but now watching my oldest son and Lucas play soccer, world football. I miss watching that. It's truly fun to watch.
Oh, well, let's not undersell some things here, Ed. You are the defending Loudoun County third grade champion here.
Coach?
The coach,
Yeah.
the coach of the team. Let's not undersell anything
That
here.
is awesome.
What's your favorite football team?
Nothing
Dallas
else.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Oh!
Got you, baby. Them boys. Got you, Drew. Hey, Drew's a diehard.
No.
We so got you,
Okay,
man.
so this question will be for you and David. Since we're recording this, what's the Cowboys' record at the end of the football season?
At the end of the next football season, I bet you we're going to be – are they doing 17 weeks now? Was that final?
It's still 16 till the
It's
next.
still 16 now. So I say we're going to be 11-5.
David, what about your Eagles?
My Eagles, unfortunately, this year, I think they're going to fall one game behind the Cowboys at 10-6.
There you go.
However, the Eagles will beat them in the playoffs.
But see, the Eagles are used to smelling our behinds. So they're cool with that.
There we go. All right, Red, thanks for answering the rapid fire, man. I appreciate it.
And
That
Red,
was a good one.
so listen, one of the things that we love to do is, first of all, we want to thank you for coming and taking time to spend time with Ty, Drew, and David, and spend time with us. But before we go, if people want to work with Red, and if people want to do business with Red, where do we find you? How do we get a hold of you? And how fast can you come and feed us some of that meat?
Well, I love serving my meat. Let me tell you that right now. And my meat does not discriminate. My meat knows no bounds. It loves everybody. And the moment you put my meat in your mouth, you're not going to want any other.
Oh, boy.
Hey, but we're asking for a website and we're asking for a phone number. So please share.
All right. So you can hit me up through my email is red@redsbarbecueandpizzeria.com. My phone number is 469-989-7090, Dallas, Texas number. And you can hit me up on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, or my webpage at www.redsbarbecueandpizzeria.com. And I can be there at pretty quick notice.
Outstanding, Red. All right. On behalf of the lab and our partners at the lab and all our audience in the lab, we want to thank you one last time. And we invite all of you, if you know anyone out there that's a small business owner that's making a difference in the world, like a good friend Red, please reach out to us. We'd love to have him on for 30 minutes in the lab so we can continue to change the world one simple interview at a time.
Hey, Eric.
Yo, what do
one
you
quick
got?
thing before we go.
Yeah, man.
All the you're giving away and donating food. If somebody wants to donate, should they just contact you through your site? If they want to donate
Yes.
some money to help you get that food, so you can just through your website or through one of those things you just left, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, actually, you know what? Since you brought that up, I don't want to forget. You have an event coming up, right? We can't let you
Yeah,
go
we
without
do.
that.
Yeah, this Saturday.
Go ahead.
This Saturday, it's May the 2nd from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock at Loudon Soccer Park. We're going to be doing a theme called Americana. Basically, what I also felt as though this week, we need to have a little bit more sense of pride in our country, because I feel as though listening to all the radios, we're divided right now amongst the different organizations and wings and everything else. So I'm like, you know what? Again, barbecue doesn't discriminate. Barbecue loves everybody. And so I want people to come out from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock at Loudon Soccer Park to come enjoy free barbecue. And if you want to pay it forward, you can pay it forward, donate whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But I want you to also to decorate your vehicles, whatever vehicle, whether it's a motorcycle, whether it's a bike, whether it's a car, and a patriotic theme. Like people are doing these drive-by happy birthdays. Why don't you make signs that say how much you love America and come together over barbecue? And at 1 o'clock, we have a special guest that will be singing the national anthem.
Man, that is awesome, man. It's like one of the things that I always see when we go see Red is the good glories up top and the Marine Corps flag flying on high. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Red, thank you once again, man. We love having you. And now you're officially a member of the lab, man. So anytime, anywhere, you can reach out to us, and we'll love to help whatever cost you're helping. So thank you for coming once again.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
That was awesome.